So what are all the important parts of biogas plant? Digester tank, inlet tank, outlet tank. In the digester tank, where the biomass undergoes decomposition, and where the inlet tank, the biomass is mixed with the water, and where the outlet tank, where slurry of the biomass is collected. So these are all the some important parts of biogas plant. Classification of biogas plants. So based on the continuous types of biogas plant, it once again classified into two types: single stage continuous type and two stage continuous type. And batch type biogas plant is once again classified into fixed dome type and floating dome type. Here we are going to discuss about floating dome type. So the figure shows that inlet tank, outlet tank and the floating drum. So the left side shows that the mixing tank. So in the mixing tank we may mix the slurry of cattle tongue and water. So the mixture of cattle tongue and water is called slurry. So then the slurry is passing through the compressor chamber through inlet pipe. So the middle portion is nothing but this is called as the combustion chamber, and over the chamber the floating dome is mounted with the help of the central column. So after passing the slurry into the combustion chamber, we are keeping that slurry up to 30 to 45 days without absence of oxygen. So the biogas is formed. The biogas is also collected through the gas chamber. So once the gas is produced, that gas is accumulated in the gas holder, so that the gas holder is floating from the top level of the surface. So from the gas holder, the biogas is taken through the gas valve and it is passing through the outlet where it is required. After the biogas, the manure is formed. So the manure is pushing the compressor chamber to the exit tank, that means outlet tank, through the gas pushes the manure to the outlet tank. So from the outlet tank the manure is collected and it is maybe taken to use as the fertilizer for agricultural purpose. So this is the working of the floating dome type biogasifier. Advantages of biogas plant. Gas pressure is constant. Scum formation is very less. The danger of the explosion is completely eliminated as there is no possibility of mixing of biogas and external air. No gas leakage problem. Volume of gas stored is visible directly. So these are all some advantages. Disadvantages. So coming to the disadvantages, the construction cost is high. Steel parts are liable to corrosion. Short life and maintenance cost is high. So the next type of biogas plant is fixed dome type. The fixed dome type biogas plant is shown in the figure. In the previous case, we may discussed about the floating type biogas plant, where the floating gas holder is floating over the combustion chamber, and whereas in the fixed dome type, the dome is permanently fixed under the ground. So it is called fixed dome type. So the fixed dome of a biogas plant is a gas-tight dome-shaped roof that stores biogas produced in an underground digester. Here How a fixed dome biogas plant works, it may be explained with the help of the diagram. First is mixing process. In a mixing tank, water is mixed with the animal tongue to create a slurry. Then the slurry is passing through the digester through the inlet pipe. Here, the fermentation process takes place. The slurry is partially added to the digester where the bacteria break it down in an anaerobic environment to produce methane gas. This process normally takes about 2 months. The gas produced pushes the fermented slurry out to the digester and into the outlet. Then the gas is stored in the dome of the digester, and finally the slurry is disposal and it can be used as a fertilizer. So this is the working of fixed dome type biogasifier. Then what is the difference between the floating drum and fixed dome type means? In the fixed dome type, the gas is released at a variable pressure, and whereas in the floating dome type biogas plant, the gas is released at a constant pressure. Because once the gas is produced means it will be collected through the gas holder, then the gas flow is constantly supplying to the required outlet space through the gas holder valve. Then coming to the next point, identifying defects is difficult in the fixed dome type, and whereas in the floating dome type, the identifying the defects in gas holder is easy because the gas holder is floating in the above ground level. Cost of maintenance is low in the case of fixed dome type, and whereas floating dome type is the maintenance cost is high because always the drum is corroded because of that it is directly connected to the oxygen. Then the capital cost is low. Here the dome type is capital cost is higher. Space above the drum can be used, and whereas in the floating type, the floating drum does not allow the use of space for other purpose. Temperature is higher during winter in the case of fixed dome type, and the floating dome type the temperature is low during winter. The lifespan is comparatively longer for fixed dome type, and whereas the floating dome type the life is short. Requires a move excavation work for fixed dome type, and whereas here the floating dome type that requires relatively less excavation. Thank you.